Unless specifically indicated otherwise, the content expressed are my views only and not necessarily those of Life Pro Asset Management, LLC. The content presented is in no way an investment advice, solicitation, or an offer to sell securities or investment advisory services. The material is provided for general information and educational purposes based upon publicly available information from sources believed to be reliable. I cannot assure the accuracy or completeness of these materials. As such, the information in these materials may change at any time without notice. Reference to these discussions about IULs and annuities or fixed insurance products. Investments on fixed insurance products are different from investments in the stock market. Any guarantees provided by a fixed insurance product cannot be assumed to be guaranteed for any other investment.
Welcome to the Rock My Finances show on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV, where we put the fun in finance. Join Powerhouse Jennifer Joseph, CDFA, CMC, and Private Wealth Advisor, as she collaborates with you to create clarity, control, and confidence with your money, your way. It's not about the zeros, so what is it all about? Let's find out. Now here's your host and weekly friend, Jennifer Joseph.
Hey, I am so excited about today. We are going to be talking about building your wealth. And I'm going to be sharing a little tiny secret with you, so stay tuned. It is how the wealthy have been doing this for so many decades. And this amazing woman that I met last week, I've actually been working with her company for years, probably 8-9 years now. And she created this whole new way to bring it down to us, middle America. And so kind of excited to share this with you. But first, I'm going to share where do we, when we save our money, we all hear save, right? And then keep that little extra and don't spend all your money, live within your means, all that stuff. But what do you do with the money once you save it? I know we have a big thought out there about 401k in America to save for your retirement. I'm going to give you a whole nother little idea on that. I know that 401ks are great, or they were great. However, depending on your situation, which is what is very big and not discussed, you have a unique situation. Not everyone is the same. No one is the same. So going to an advisor or getting advice for your specific situation and not listening to the masses is the first key thing. The second key thing is, where are you at in your tax bracket now? Because when we invest into a 401k or a retirement plan, that is pre-taxed. So there's no tax on that. That is the benefit for you for today. Then you put it in this big account. It grows over all these years, 20, 30 years before you hit to retirement. Then when you go to retire, it is 100% taxable. I don't know about you, but I have no idea what our tax rate is going to be when I'm 65, 75, 85. So we are saving money on today's tax rate, which I'm very well aware of, and hoping that it's going to be less down the road. However, if you look at usdebtclock.com, you are going to see that we are racking up debt in this country like this is ridiculous. So the experts have said that it is going to have to raise the tax brackets and tax rates over time. So what I like to do is pay my taxes now because it's where I know I'm at. Now, we also help our clients, right, to make sure that we're in the lowest tax bracket that we can be in now. In America, you got to own a business, because that's with all the tax rates change in 2018, business owners shined through that. So I don't care if you're selling vitamins. I don't care if you're selling pink shiny cups. I don't care if you're selling your coaching or on Etsy or whatever you're doing. But if you have any type of a small business at home, you will get some tax breaks. That'll be for a whole nother show. So with this show, we are going to be talking about when we're saving that money, where do we put it? So there's 4 buckets. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to be bouncing around a lot. So bear with me. I'm also going to talk a lot as well, so that when you're just in your car listening to this, you're actually still going to be able to hear everything and kind of visualize what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is buckets. One, just let me know if we can see that okay, because I can't see the screen anymore. So if this isn't right, you're going to have to just pop on the podcast and tell me to do something different. Okay. So buckets. Our first bucket is our short-term buckets. Bucket number one, that's our cash, that's our savings, that's our emergency fund. That is something that you can get to quickly. You all have checking and savings accounts. You might even have a brokerage account that you can get to quickly. You might even have the Acorns app. You might have a Cash app. You might have, even your PayPal might have cash in it. Venmo might have cash in it, which we need to update our things here because Venmo does have cash, right? So all of that is just holding your liquidity. We call that liquid money. What's going to be paying your bills on a regular basis. We also want to be able to get to some money quickly. Let's say all 4 tires blow out. Let's say your air conditioner blows out. Something happens to you need to get to $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 right away. That's your rainy day fund, emergency fund. I call it your holy crap bucket. All of that is in your short-term cash bucket. The next bucket we call is our midterm bucket. This is bucket number 2. This is taxed as capital gains, which is a very different tax bracket than ordinary capital gains. Now, I'm going to say I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax professional. This is just my own personal knowledge. So you have to double check all of this with everyone, right? So the capital gains bucket is going to be, let's say I have a brokerage account, right? And the leftover from my sale of my home went into this brokerage account and I purchased stocks inside this account. Those gains from those stocks are going to be capital gains taxed. That's a very different tax bracket. It's very much lower than income tax brackets. So if you don't understand that, educate yourself on income tax brackets versus capital gains tax brackets. Then you're going to be smart. I'm telling you. Okay, so now in our midterm bucket, we want to have some money in all 4 of these buckets. So in our midterm bucket, this is like maybe your trust account, maybe your joint account, maybe just your single brokerage account. It's just an extra account that we're saving money into. The next bucket is our long-term bucket. This is our tax-free bucket. It's not easy to get tax-free investments. So tax-advantaged investments. So example would be a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is something that you pay the taxes now, you put into a retirement account, which is your Roth IRA account. It's going to grow tax deferred. So you do not have to pay taxes on it every year like you do your midterm bucket. So it's going to grow tax deferred, and then it's going to come out 100% tax free after you're 59 and a half, and you have the Roth IRA for at least 5 years. So that is one way to have a tax-free bucket. However, there's pros and cons to that as well, because you're limited. If you make too much money, you can't even do a Roth. And if you're limited on what you can do, depending on how old you are, 6,500, 7,500, every year that changes, but you can't put gobs of money into a Roth IRA. I actually started my daughter's Roth IRA when she was very young with her first paycheck. So you can open up a Roth IRA as soon as you have earned income. I just helped another client with her son, he's 19 going to college, opened up his first Roth IRA. A good thing with Roth IRA is what you put in it, you can take out of it at any time because it's already been taxed. However, the growth on what you put in it cannot come out until you're 59 and a half, and it's been in there for at least 5 years. So we can use that as a somewhat of an emergency fund if you have all the other buckets as well, because if a catastrophe happened, you could pull money out of your Roth IRA, just what you've put in, not the growth. We can talk about a Roth IRA again also later as well. So another tax-free, I want to say, but tax advantaged bucket would be like bonds. If you have federal bonds that are not tax. So the money that you're making on that bond is non-taxable. So federal, city, it would be like your state would not have to pay state taxes, but federal bonds, you don't have to pay the federal taxes on that. We don't get too much into that right now because bonds aren't that spectacular. They're getting much better now, however, so we might just do like a whole bond podcast. The third way, which is my favorite way, which is what this whole thing is going to be about today, is the cash value life insurance. That is, I call it a super Roth. It's just like a Roth. You pay the taxes now, you put money into it, grows tax deferred, comes out 100% tax free if you structure it correctly and you have an amazing advisor that's helping you with this cash value life insurance policy. And there's many ways to do it. So that's the long-term bucket. The fourth bucket is your financial independence bucket, which is taxable, which would be like your 401k or your IRA. And we also have Social Security going into that as well, because portion of that will be taxed as well. Okay, so done with the buckets. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to come back and share in a little bit. Okay, did all that work? Okay, I can see the comments now, Juan, so let me know if anything's up there. Okay, so you hear the 4 buckets. We want money in all of these buckets. So when we're saving money, we want money in all the buckets. I know a lot of people do have the 401ks. If your company is matching your 3%, 4%, that is free money. So that's okay to put into the 401k up to the match. If you have any questions about funding it after that, let's chat. Get with your advisor, get with me. Let's see if it's good for your situation. Because I can tell you, I have a lot of people right now that have over $1 million in their 401ks. We turn them into an IRA once they retire. It's 100% taxable. And what happens, I've been in this business for so long, I have my people who retire and they have all this money in all these qualified accounts and they want to go on vacation. And in order to go on a $10,000 vacation, they have to pull out $15,000 to $20,000 to pay the taxes. Guess what? They don't do it. They put off vacations because they don't want to pay the taxes. So I help them shift that mindset. And we want to make sure that we have all the buckets, because what you can do is you can pull out $5,000 from your taxable account and $5,000 from your tax-free account. Then you're going on a vacation with much less taxes having to be paid. I hope that makes sense. But this is what we do in distribution phase. We've always heard about accumulating, saving, investing, build your wealth. That's great. But we want to build it according to how we're going to distribute that wealth. I don't want you to wait forever to enjoy your life. I want you to enjoy your life now. I want you to of course, save and invest. Obviously, I have a whole company built around Diamond Life Planning is built around saving and investing and financial planning. That's very important to have a plan. And at the same time, I have to take into account your lifestyle and your dreams and goals and your desires. And really, what are you doing on this planet and what do you want to do on this planet? So we want to make sure that that's being taken care of as well. Okay, so now we have money in all 4 buckets. Now we say, okay, how am I going to do this tax-free bucket? So here is the trick. It's called cash value life insurance. Yes, I'll have a lot of people say, I don't need life insurance. What do I want that for? Well, I do want to leave a legacy, so my kids will be taken care of when I pass away. If that's not your gig, that's totally fine. However, the life insurance policy is a death benefit and is a life insurance first and foremost. So you have to want to have life insurance because they will have a death benefit with it. The death benefit comes also with benefits, right? It lets your money grow tax deferred inside of the policy. And if you loan out of your cash, you be your own bank, then you actually can take those loans out and that money comes to you tax-free as well. Again, it has to be structured correctly. So with it's called, check this out, IUL, Indexed Universal Life. You can Google it. There's actually a URL that I don't even know who does it, but it talks all about it. You're going to put money in after-tax dollars. This is only good for people who are okay with long-term investments. This is a long-term. This is until you pass away investment. You have to have the money to fund it, and it has to end into a death benefit in order for you to get the tax benefits. And that's why we're doing this, a big part of why I'm talking about right now for our retirement. I just met with a client. They bought a new house. They sold their old one, bought a new one. Now they're going to be in retirement. They're still working. It's great, but they want to cover that mortgage. So this is a great way to cover the mortgage for your spouse, for your legacy, leave a legacy for your family. So there is a death benefit with it. And you can also use the money in retirement. And then I have my single ladies, we do a large death benefit now while they're growing and putting money and building their wealth, but then they're going to spend it down to just leaving the kids the legacy that she wants to leave the kids, maybe $100,000 per child, $500,000 per child, depending on which tax bracket you're in. But then we'll spend that down to where it just still leaves a legacy for the family, but you've used all the cash in the meantime for your retirement. Okay, if anybody's out there listening, type in the questions, Juan. If there's any questions ever, go ahead and put them on there. Hey, Jen, I know I'm a wealth of info. Love you. You're awesome. Miss Jen, thank you so much. So yeah, just go ahead and put up any questions on the screen. We'll jump into it. Okay. So now the IUL is not what we're talking about. Check out my previous podcast. Juliet and I did one on the IUL. It's awesome. I'm going to supercharge this IUL by using leverage. Yes, the L word, leverage. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you some numbers. Whoops, I did the wrong thing. We're going to hit present, share screen, entire screen, share with the video sound as well, which I don't know if I need that. Okay. So now we're going to, I hope it pops up. Yay. Okay. All is well, Juan. You got to be impressed. Okay. So this is called Kai-Zen. This lady that I actually just met, Grace, last week, she created the Kai-Zen after doing premium financing for many of her clients for many, many, many years. Premium financing means you have to be over a millionaire, very wealthy, and you can do the same type of thing where you put your money in, the bank matches you, and then you pay the bank back in 10, 15 years, whatever you set it up for. The rest is yours, but you get to leverage their money all that time. And the money that's been invested, you get that growth. So that's premium financing for the wealthy. She has helped us take this down to us, making $200,000 a year, sometimes $100,000 a year. Then you can qualify for a Kai-Zen policy. So this Kai-Zen policy is amazing. Traditional retirement plans may be insufficient, like the 401ks, because we are in the market with the 401k and we are at the market's mercy for all of those years. I don't know if anybody's experienced 2008 like I did. It took us 6 years to jump back to get even. Right now, the market was down last year. I mean, we could be experiencing these downs, totally fine, because the market always does come back. However, how great would it be to be invested, but not have the down and then be able to capture the upside as well? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here. So the Kai-Zen is protecting you and your family. It's your cash accumulation policy designed to minimize the cost of insurance while maximizing your tax advantage growth. It's leveraging a bank loan, and the bank loan gets paid off after 15 years, depending on the policy performance. And then the cash value in the policy is yours, and then you can access it as retirement. So we're going to dive in here. You are going to put in a premium for 5 years and 5 years only. So you have to have the money and know you're going to have the money for 5 years. We do have people that have come to us, $150,000 or something, $200,000 or even more, and give us all that money up front so that they don't spend it and blow it and lose it. Then they're done. But we will put their premium into this policy once a year for 5 years. If you're seeing my screen, it's the little blue man. Then the bank is going to match you for the first 5 years. So let's say in these numbers, we're looking at a female here. She's putting in $27,100 each year for 5 years, a total of $135,000. The bank is going to add the first 5 years, another $24,000 to that and some change. Then she stops contributing after 5 years. The bank picks it up in sixth year to 10th year and puts in the total amount of the $50,000 a year. So the bank again puts in $24,000, almost $25,000 for the first 5 years, then $50,000 from year 6 to 10, and then that's it. So you have put in a total of $135,000. The bank has put in a total of $372,000, and then we let it cook for 5 years. I hope that makes sense. Then after 15 years, we pay the bank off their money because the bank's always going to get their money. And then we let that cook until you're 65. When you are 65, you get to pull out your distribution of $36,000 a year from age 65 to age 90. Now, again, this is just an illustration, just a hypothetical, just an example, because you actually can do whatever you want with your money after the 15th year. After the bank's paid off, you can do whatever you want. But if you were to take the income of the $36,000 a year, tax-free, y'all. So whatever tax bracket you're in, add that on $36,000, because it'd be more like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in actuality, because it's tax-free. So your potential distributions, if you live to the age of 90, would be $936,000 if you just funded this IUL by yourself. But since this is a Kai-Zen policy, Kai-Zen, you ready for this? You put in that $135,000, the bank puts in theirs, so your income every year is $57,000 tax-free from age 65 to 90. That is amazing. So then you go to pull out 1.482, so $1,482,000 total of a $135,000 investment. You cannot tell me that that is not badass. Like, that is awesome. You still have the death benefit at the age 90 of $800,000. So your family still gets that legacy. Doesn't that sound awesome? It's so great. Yes, this has been stress tested. Yes, the bank is not going to invest into something unless you know that there's going to be the money there for them to get back. We all know that, right? Like, that is absolutely what a bank is going to do. Okay, so I know I've got a lot out there. Okay, I'm back to my screen now. So if you ask any questions, feel free to ask now. So what happens is this money is not in the stock market, but it mirrors the stock market. So we mirror indexes, and you get to choose which index you want to put it in. And we educate you all about that. So we're getting the upside of the market. If the market crashes or didn't do anything last year, you just won't get anything added to your policy, but you cannot lose your money inside your policy. So that $135,000 that you put in, or $27,000 a year, cannot be lost. Your only thing that comes out of the policy is your expenses for the life insurance, mortality and expense rates, and fees for the insurance company. Now, yes, there's pros and cons with everything. Are there fees? Yes. You can see a lot of the fees right within the first 10 years. That's when most of the fees come out. You will always have cost of insurance, and that depends on your health. So yes, you need to be healthy to have this type of a policy. Sorry, y'all. If not, talk to me and we'll do an annuity or something different. However, this is great if you're healthy. Maybe your spouse is healthy. If I do a lot of business partners in businesses, we have the 2 policies on all the business owners. I just did one construction for 3 policy owners, and do it all through the business so that they all get the equal. There's so many things that we can do to protect you on this. Okay. So some of the frequently asked questions. Before I do that, I'm actually going to share my screen and give you a testimonial of someone who's had a policy and that's had one for a while. So let me share screen, and let's go to client testimonials, share audio. All right, let's listen.
And I am just here to share with you why I signed on to Kai-Zen and how this is benefiting me. And when I found Kai-Zen, to be honest, I was skeptical. I called Frederick Veit, my advisor, and I said, could this possibly be true? I mean, there's just so many wins about this plan that it literally sent my head spinning. So I had a great dialogue with Rick. He pointed me into several, documents. I did a lot of research. I kind of delved in, and not only for me does it provide a phenomenal life insurance plan, but also there's a retirement plan built in, which as a real estate agent, guys, and I'm sure if I'm speaking to other entrepreneurs here, you can you can relate, right? So we don't have any kind of a retirement plan set up. So I was super attracted to this plan, and I'm going to share a few reasons why. I've never seen anything like this, okay? I couldn't believe that I only had to make 5 payments. I was literally dumbfounded because I've talking to several other people that are making a monthly payment for years and years and years. And here I am, I'm done in 5 payments. In fact, I was so excited about the 5 payments because I said, all right, every year I'm doing more and more research, right? There's got to be something else out there that's better, right? No, there's not. So guess what? When my 5 payments were done last year, what did I do? I signed on for a second Kai-Zen plan. It was my chance to kind of supercharge my plan and, in a sense, catch up. All right. So catch up after paying bills and building my business all those early years. So for me, this was definitely a huge win-win. So if there are anybody out there that is skeptical, don't be. I've done the research. As a result of the Kai-Zen plan, I am 100% confident that my family is going to be taken care of if something happens to me. Now, for me personally, this is gold because I have a beautiful 3-year-old daughter and I'm a single parent. I am a real estate agent, so I don't have any kind of a retirement or life insurance plan built into my career. Thank you so much to my phenomenal advisor, Rick.
We're going to cut that off because I'm your financial fabulous advisor, right? Love her. I'm so glad that she shared on that. So it is so many benefits, and there's a whole page. There's so many people that have been doing this for years and years and years now. I think it's about 10 years old, I think Grace said. And Grace, the owner of Kai-Zen, who created all of this, is going to be on the podcast as well. So I can't wait to have her. I just spoke with her today. And so met her last week. Very, very excited about that. So that'll be coming on as well. So what's the pros and the cons, right? Well, the con is it does cost money, right? You can do a traditional index universal life, which I do all the time. Just did one again. Like we do that all the time. That can be anywhere from $100 a month to a few $100,000 a year or $1 million a year. Like you could do whatever you want into an IUL. If you're going to do upwards of large dollars, then we would want to move you over to the Kai-Zen or premium financing because you get more bang for your buck. But in a traditional IUL, that actually replaces a lot of my clients' 401ks. And in addition to, I should say, because they still do the 401k to get the free money in the match, but then extras, they will move over to an IUL, $10,000 a year, $15,000 a year, $25,000 a year. And then they have a death benefit. They have growing cash value that they have access to if they need a loan for something. They have living benefits as well, meaning if they get sick or hurt, depending on which company you use, you actually have a bucket of money that you can go to while you're alive, not only when you pass away. So it looks like a somewhat of a disability policy. It's not perfect, but it definitely can help in those manners. I had a client who had cancer. We pulled off of the death benefit. They went and found treatment and literally lived another 3 or 4 years, which was exactly what he wanted to do. So it's a death benefit. It's a bank. It's a cash value, tax-free retirement. It's a little bit of a disability policy. It's so many things wrapped into one. So I still love the index universal life, no matter what, depending on your case, that you might have to fund a little bit longer. The Kai-Zen is using a bank's money to leverage your money and to leverage the growth. And that's what we're doing when we buy a mortgage, right? When we buy a car and we use the bank's money now, we're leveraging the bank's money all the time. But this way, it's just opposite. We're using it to build assets and growth and build our wealth. So why not? I mean, why not use the bank's money if you can? Yes, you do need to make $100,000 for at least 2 years. Some states, you need to make $200,000. You need to be healthy, or at least your spouse needs to be healthy. It needs to be on one of you. And you need to have that money for 5 years to fund it. Now, what happens if something happens? Well, that actually happened. I had a client who funded it for the first year. Life changed with COVID, all this craziness, could not fund it anymore. So what we did was we just closed the policy. the bank got their money back, because the bank's always going to get their money back first, and then the balance goes to the client. So the client did get some money back. It wasn't the full amount of money. So we want to make sure that you have the money for the 5 years, and then you have the time to let it grow. Let's say you have the money for the 5 years, you let it grow 8 years, something happens, then what? Then we do the same thing. We stop the policy, the bank gets their money back right away. You either continue the policy on your own from there on out, and let it grow, or you get whatever's left over at that point. So this is kind of part of a financial plan, to where we want to make sure that you have the money for the 5 years. You're going to have the money to fund it, so that you can just let it sit there and cook for 15 years. Let's say we do that. We pay the bank back in 15 years. And let's say you're pretty young. Let's say you're only 40 or something, and you're not ready to retire. Can you leave the money in there? Absolutely. It's still going to grow every year. You're getting credited into your policy every year, depending on what the indexes are doing, depending on what the stock market is doing. So yes, you can let it grow as long as you want. But when you turn on that income stream, that's what we're looking at when I tell you the $57,000 a year tax-free income stream that you would get from age 65 to 90. Let's say you want to retire at 60. No problem. You just start that income stream earlier. So it's very flexible after the bank is paid off. I hope that helps. If that is too long for you to wait on the 15 years and all of that, then we would just do a traditional IUL for you, so that you still have all of those benefits of the tax-free growth, tax-free retirement, and be your own bank if you need that in the beginning of things. You would just have to pay longer possibly, or pay more into it to get the bigger bang for your buck. But it's still going to beat so many other choices. And let's just say you want to fund all of the buckets like we suggest. So this is just a portion of your assets. This is a one bucket for you. You still have your 401k if you want that. You still have real estate for your capital gains. You still have a stock account, possibly, maybe even commodities. We just talked to a client. They actually have silver bars. Whatever you want to do, we just want to diversify everything, because I don't have that crystal ball on what's going to happen 30 years from now. Besides us, hopefully on an island, cheersing each other. And when people do get one Kaizen, like I think her name was Claire, yes, you definitely get more, because if you are still achieving and then you come into more money, then yes, inheritance money is great to put in here, because you can put it away and forget it. You cannot lose your money. It's a great place to be. Again, you have to be healthy. Another thing that people are doing for this is parents my age, or between in their 60s. They have all this money, these baby boomers, right? We have all this money, and we're going to get hit with taxes and estate taxes and all of that. How can you pass this money to your kids? Well, thanks to Grace, they just now started that you can actually do this for your child. So you can give them part of their inheritance now by making them an insured on this policy, but you're funding the policy. So like my daughter Journey, I've already checked into it. We can put in, I think it's $21,000 for her. I just say, $120,000, and then we fund it over 5 years, and then she is set. Nobody touches it. She doesn't get to touch it until she goes to retire. But when she goes to retire, she's going to have I think it was $150,000 tax-free for the rest of her life. Now, isn't that incredible? So if you have money, your parents have money, your grandparents have money, they want to give you an inheritance, let's leverage the bank's money to set you up for life. That is the smartest thing that we can absolutely do, instead of just giving these kids cash down the road. This is something that you could do, put it in your estate plan now to be able to pass on some in your inheritance. Now, what happens if you want to give them more? It's absolutely fine. You can give them more. There's rules and regulations around everything. So you do need to get with somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. There's only a few companies that can do Kaizen out there. I've been fortunate to be with 3 of those companies over the last 8 years. So I've been very, very well versed on Kaizen as well. It's very amazing for us people not making $1 million a year to be able to still use the bank's money to leverage and have your assets grow on growth. Okay, I'm going to let you do one more video, and let me share my screen. and hear from other people who have been doing this for a while. Let's see, share screen. 60-second Kaizen. Play.
If your household income is over $200,000, your retirement will cost you 6 times more than your home. We all know that banks provide loans to buy a nicer home, but did you know that they'll also provide funds to help supplement your retirement savings? This provides the potential for 60 to 100% more than your savings could achieve alone. Here's how it works. We take what you're willing to set aside and place it into a specially designed life insurance policy. Why life insurance? In addition to providing death benefit protection, this policy has the potential to earn interest without market risk. Plus, it has tax advantages you can't get with any other product. It also happens to be super safe for the lender. As a result, you don't have to qualify for a loan, provide personal guarantees, or even make interest payments. Think it's too good to be true? This practice has been used by the wealthy for years. It's your time to take advantage of leverage. See if you qualify today. Click the link in the description below.
Okay. Let me stop sharing real quick because that was not the one I wanted to show you. So let me go to a different one that actually talks about, oh, that's what it was. Let's get out of her and let's go to the previous page, multiples. There we go. So sorry, technical difficulties. Hang in there with me. This will be worth it. I promise. Maybe not. I don't know. So I love this. I've had an IUL for a very long time. Actually, a couple of them. So, here we go. All right, I found it. Present, share screen, client testimonials. There we go.
Years ago, I decided I've got to put away more money for retirement because I just wasn't meeting my goals.
I began to realize that I was not as prepared for what was coming as I hoped I would be.
And what I'm looking for was an instrument that allows for tax-free retirement income.
And I get bank financing with it. The bank was going to match me 3-to-1. So there's my catch-up contribution.
It's protected against market crashes, which is another huge benefit.
It's also life insurance for my kids.
I literally died for 14 minutes. If I would have had a policy like the Kai-Zen plan, could have made a lot of different decisions.
There's got to be something else out there that's better, right? No, there's not. So guess what? When my 5 payments were done last year, what did I do? I signed on for a second Kai-Zen plan.
It gives me a little bit more of a comfort zone as I build my portfolio for the future. It's just another added piece that lets me sleep better at night.
Awesome. Okay, so this just is giving you a little bit of taste on all of this. Let's chat. Let's see if it's right for you. And I get people all the time, like, tell me something new. What else is out there? Like I just said, the client had silver bars. I know a lot of people are doing crypto. There are other things out there than just save all your money into the 401ks. There are absolutely other. Now, do I do 401ks? Absolutely. I set them up for business owners all the time. They do have a cost every year, right? So it's really good for the business owner because they get to put money in for themselves and they get to put in their own match from their company. So it does benefit business owners to do that. And you can do the life insurance policies in place of or in addition to a 401k for your employees. So if you own a business and you have a few people that work for you or a ton of people that work for you, and you want them to have more modern type of retirement planning, this is it. The Index Universal Life is so great. And then the Kai-Zen, we do this as business owners as well. We do it's called Tri-Zen. So there's lots of things that we can do. I hope I piqued a little bit of your curiosity so that we can actually have a conversation about this. I can't wait for Grace to be on the podcast. So I'll share that out as well because she's going to tell you all about it. And they've had policies in effect for 10 years now, so she can show some stats around that. It's very exciting. This is out of the box thinking, and I hope you've enjoyed everything that I've shared today, and know that there's so many different things you can do. First thing is you have to have some type of a savings. So yes, we have to be making money, spending our expenses, and having a net left over. We need to be able to have some left over to do something with. If we don't have that yet, then this is not going to be a very good podcast for you. And if you don't have that, call me, because we need to get you making sure you're making enough money so that you can add to your buckets and add to your assets that you need for the rest of your life. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's weird not having another guest on here, but it's really fun. So hit me up. Let's talk about it. And let's share more about building that wealth. I want you to be able to control it, you to be able to have the confidence and the clarity of what you're doing for your whole life. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Have a great day. I want you to be able to say, I rock my finances.
We appreciate you joining us today, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rock My Finances YouTube channel for more engagement and bonus content. Tell me, what is your money story? Let's find out with Jennifer, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, every Thursday right here on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV. It's not about the zeros, it's about the F word, feelings. Feelings Jennifer can't wait to explore with you next week. Until then, let's all say, I rock my finances.